Martin here, and this would be the 17th recap, or rather, the recap of the 17th day of my 60-day challenge. As per usual, whenever I get home late in the morning, my voice is super cracked up and hoarse, so don't know what's up with that. I actually did find someone to teach me singing, like basic singing, because that's good for your vocal cord, which is essentially why I have a hoarse throat. It's because my vocal cord, sorry, my vocal cord is weak. Anyways, super duper tired today. Was out very late yesterday, and as you probably saw from that video log, I was drinking. So I have been exhausted, getting low quality sleep, and basically acted like a retard yesterday, which, it came back to haunt me today. I still feel like I had a good night. I learned some things, and that's what it's all about in the end. So first of all, I did a lot of approaches again, which is, well, at this point, I mean, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, but it's good to build the state, at least for me it is. And I got in a good mood, but I'm also super tired and have been super tired, so I never really got into that like killer mode, so to say. I was always like struggling a little bit behind, and I think that was in large part due to me being tired. And when I'm tired, I don't really get in that, like that state, that kill mode or god mode, call it whatever you want. And it makes it so that I'm less persistent. Not only am I less persistent, but I also feel less inclined to go for closes. That's actually a big thing there, and that's something that's a weak point in my game. But whenever I'm not like feeling it, I tend to default to what's congruent to me, which is, well, if I'm not in state, it's not very congruent to me to go for closes, even though I know logically I always should, and that could be something as simple like, let me grab your number, let me get your Facebook, let me get, let me like go for the makeout or after party, and like all these kind of things. And I don't do that when I'm not really in state. So I think that's something that I need to work on a little bit down the line. I still have a few issues left that I need to work on here and now, but that's definitely coming right up. On top of that, I felt like I just had a really good night. It was a weird night, like not being very persistent and not plowing through a whole lot, even when you're like, I was in a good sociable mood, and I have no qualms, I have no problem approaching anymore, in any sense of the word. That's so powerful, because initially when I was making that shift, in the way I interpreted state, I think that's a week ago or so now. At first I was like, oh, this is weird, like state feels different now, what is going on, so on, am I not getting in state, am I immune to the process, what's going on there? And then I realized, oh no, it feels different, state just feels different when you're going out constantly. So I've kind of embraced that, and that means I'm like very calm and okay with just like, even early on in the night, just walking up and being like, hey, what's up, I'm Martin, how are you guys doing? And I think that's extremely powerful, and that's an extremely good thing to be able to do. So I'm happy that I can do that. So that's a plus. Yay. All right. So let's see. In terms of result tonight, not that good of a night. I think I had two interactions where I decided like, hey, I could probably stay here. I didn't screen for logistics first, but I'm gonna commit to this girl until like something happens. And going back to the first thing I said, whether or not I don't know if lots of approaches is necessarily a good thing, the mindset I had for these sets is ideally the one you want for every set. How did I phrase it? Stay here until something happens. I think that's a good one. But for those two sets, for both of them, I think I ended up getting the a Facebook. So that's kind of like, you could say that's a down. I think my whole state and mood considered, that was kind of okay. That was kind of good enough. But I definitely want to try and do more and push myself in that regard in the future, or a little bit, at least a little bit down the line. I met some cool people. I met some cool women. Don't know what else there. Like, there isn't much to say. I feel like there didn't happen a whole lot tonight. I definitely feel like there were sets where I could have pushed bigger or more. In fact, I had one set I thought I wanted to go into a little bit of detail with. Well, so what happened is I basically approached her. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Martin. I had to meet you, right?" So that's what I said. I thought that was very powerful, very congruent to me at the time. I was kind of in a good mood, kind of in state, but then not really. Um, Said hi to her amongst her like two friends. I dragged her aside, isolated her by the bar, and I hung out in the bar with her for like I guess 20 minutes or so. And during that time, she was like shit testing me a lot. She's like being very negative, I guess you can say it. But I like that whole keep in mind that like if she's still there, she likes you enough. And I think that's very true. And we kind of got into the topic of like, don't remember exactly how, like kissing and one night stands and so on. She says she doesn't do that. And that's all well and good. And I don't know how much or how seriously I should take these things, but at least I just kind of like, okay. And then I went for the Facebook instead. I'm kind of okay with that. I didn't really care if anything were to happen tonight or not. Like, I'm kind of going out. I'm not really feeling super horny. I'm not really like super duper feeling like, yeah, I want to pull somebody home, right? I'm just kind of going out and going through the process, going through the emotions, and then doing what needs to be done. But then I'm kind of like, I just want to learn something. I don't care if I bring somebody home. I don't really know if that's a hurtful mindset or not, but it's definitely something that's been on my mind lately. That's the way that it is. But I think the set was really curious because she just kept testing me and like tested my frame a lot. So like I kind of like casually call her like say it was cunt. I don't remember like some swear word. The vibe is still good, but I did call her something. She's like, "Hey, you can't, like you can't call me that." And then I kind of like flickered for a little bit, but then not really. So I kind of came back from that. I'm like, well, I mean, giving off that impression, what you gonna do about it? And so on was like the rhythm for that whole interaction. Action. There was like a lot of testing and a lot of beating the tests. And I think, I mean, honestly, I don't know how I fared. I mean, I got her Facebook, and I don't know really what to expect there, but it was kind of fun. Like, I kind of like these sets where there's like a lot of head on, there's a lot of challenge, there's a lot of frame. Like, this is the kind of things I find really curious, really interesting because they challenge me on my frame. And that's something I feel like I can evolve on a lot. But normally girls don't challenge you as offensively. They do it in a lot more subtle way. And I think that kind of goes under the radar for me, or it's not as obvious, or I simply don't respond to it. I honestly don't know. But I feel like it's a lot easier to deal with when it's this obvious. Right. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching and good night.